Hail them.
Hailing frequencies open, sir.
Hailing frequencies open.
I don't know why I keep giving alien street food a chance. It's always such a gamble.
Captain, we're being hailed.
On screen.
Hello, and welcome to another Hailing Frequencies Open podcast where we continue to trek through the past and future of Star Trek. As always, I'm your host, Mike Jones, and joining me here in the virtual studio, he won a raffle and complained about the prize. Apparently, you can look a gift horse in the mouth. It's Damien.
Yes. Listen, I also want to say that this is at work. If you're listening and you don't know this, Lenita and I vaguely share a workplace, sort of. And yes, I won an employee raffle, but it was not just a raffle. It was based on getting all of the answers right to a question. So yes, I did get a lovely Christmas ornament that I know just who to regift it to. And Diana, if you're listening, act surprised.
A Christmas ornament. Lovely.
Yeah, just what I need is a Christmas ornament with the logo of my workplace on it.
Oh, that's nice.
Until I work for Paramount on Star Trek, I will not be casually displaying my workplace logo in my personal life. Thank you very much.
No. Well, she's dying to say something. As a result of our newfound TikTok hate, our next co-host was recently heard earnestly explaining "Bye, Felicia" to her white friends. It's Lenita.
It's so true. I kind of love. No, I'm going to retract that kind of. I love the fact that people find it in their cold, dead hearts to type mean comments on our TikTok, because you don't know me and I don't know you, and I could care less what you think. Makes me smile and chuckle. I do. That was peak. That comment, and then the other one, and then other people commenting on that comment to say, now, was that a good use of your time? Warmed my cold, dead heart.
I think that Lenita was it's really confusing, but I think somebody called her Felicia in the comments, and it was confusing.
Incorrect. It wasn't confusing. It was incorrect. It
also,
was
for the record, this
incorrectly.
white friend already understood "Bye, Felicia."
And that is true. I will give you that. You may not like lotion, but you did understand the reference that they were going.
Lotion.
The shade.
This is rude to our guests, please.
It is rude.
No.
I'm sorry.
No.
No fighting in front of company.
Carry on.
To be clear, my +1 was on my case about how much lotion I do use. So we're going to put a pin in that. I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about my very healthy moisturized skin.
It rubs the lotion on its skin.
Or else it gets the hose again.
Okay. We have made her wait long enough. Whether you know today's guest from her weekly dose of caffeinated wisdom or from co-hosting the fan favorite Clonestar Podcast, you're in for a treat today. Woo. Jodi is a writer, creator, and co-host of the Clonestar Podcast, a fan-driven Star Trek series that celebrates the legacy, creativity, and community of the Trek universe. Through Clonestar and her platform, Jibber Jabber with Jodi, she blends humor, heart, and curiosity to explore sci-fi, storytelling, and what it means to be human, both on and off screen. A lifelong Trekkie and advocate for kindness and creative connection, Jodi shines a light on the writers, artists, and fans who keep the genre storytelling alive. Whether she's sipping coffee or talking philosophy or breaking down a Voyager two-parter or celebrating the women of Star Trek, she brings warmth, wit, and deep love of community to every conversation. Happy Monday, lovelies. Please help us welcome the most vibrant voice in the fandom today, Jodi Pickens.
Thanks.
Welcome, Jodi Pickens. Welcome.
The crowd goes wild. I love it.
This crowd goes wild. We're excited to have you.
I'm thrilled to be here because I have listened to some of your work and your podcast, and I really, in my heart, believe like if this was like a '90s party in somebody's basement and you guys were all in a corner, that I would make my way over to hang out and chat. So
that's the highest compliment.
Highest compliment.
My gosh, I think that's the highest compliment we've got.
Absolutely.
So, I feel among my people here, so this is good.
You are very much among your people. Well, and it's funny, before we started recording, I was explaining to Jodi. So, we, in preparation for this, we, knowing what a Voyager devotee Jodi is, we picked I don't want to say an obscure Voyager episode, but maybe not like a first round draft pick.
Right.
But it should be though. I forgot about it. And when I started, I was like, what's happening? And that was like, I locked right back in. I was like, oh, right.
Yeah, that one.
Yes.
This one.
Yes.
It gets overshadowed by Year of Hell, which is right after it.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
But
Well,
it's a forgotten favorite. But
yeah.
But we chose a rewatch of a Voyager episode in lieu of like, watching a movie for the first time with Lanita, because we've learned our lesson that we have found that that Trekkies are the most fascinating, compelling people that we know, and we have especially we love our queer Trekkies.
Right.
So we were like, you know what, this is going to be a 3-hour podcast if we try to do more than just an episode.
Right. It very quickly escalates the time commitment.
It sure does.
It really does.
It sure does. And one of us is sundowning by 8:30. So,
well, yeah, one of us who said that out loud.
Yeah.
But we didn't say the name of the episode. We watched season 4, episode 7, Scientific Method.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Yes.
If you want to pause and go watch that episode, we're talking about that.
Yes, it is not one that I actually even remember. I knew that I watched it, but it was not one that stood out in my memory. So I'm glad that we rewatched it.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to say, Jodi, I first came to know you listening to the Clonestar podcast.
Oh, okay, good.
And which I love you on that. You're such an insightful questioner. How did that podcast start, and how did you come on it, and what's sort of the backstory there?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy actually, but so I'm Clonestar. My other co-hosts are Sho Hurley, who's out of Ireland, and Mike Overton, who's out of England. So we're international, I guess. Why not, right? And they started that 4 years ago. Sho actually was the founder of the podcast. And I really was not, I've been a Trekkie my entire life, but I really wasn't engaged the fandom at all. And in, I guess, the summer of 2022, end of pandemic times, right? I had gotten back into another rewatch of Voyager and Deep Space Nine and the traditional rewatches. And I kept thinking to myself, I wonder if other people think about this stuff like I do. And so I went to YouTube, of course, and I stumbled upon Trek Culture with Sean Farrick and listened to a few of his videos. I was like, oh, this is interesting. There's conversations happening here. And found myself back on Twitter after I walked away from it years before, and suddenly was knee deep in the fandom during, the end of Picard season, that season 3 for that series, and just really making connections with people and having great conversations. And I started following Clonestar because I really liked what they were doing, just the way they were handling it. And Sho's philosophy for the podcast has always been he treats it kind of like an archive. He wants to gather as much information and knowledge and history of the people, not just in front of the camera, but all those people behind the scenes too. So it really just kind of evolved from there. And he reached out to me one day asking if I would want to write a blog, because they were going to start putting that stuff out. And so I wrote some stuff for them. And then I next thing I know, my first interview was with David Mack about his 7 of 9 Picard novel. I can't remember the name about it because I can't remember titles to save my life. That's just who I am. Fire something. I think it's over here. Firewall. Yep, that's it.
Firewall.
And that's where it started, and it's just evolved from there. And it's been wild. I had no idea that this is what I was going to be doing at this stage by any means, but I enjoy it. It's been a fun activity. I really enjoy the fandom for all the ups and downs that occur throughout it. And but I think there's a lot of good and a lot of positivity that comes from the community if we care to look at it and find it and focus on it. And that's really the heart of Trek for me anyway.
Now, how does it work with you guys? You share hosting duties, because oftentimes lately I listen and it's just you, and I'm trying to think if I've heard you on with the other guys, or like, do you sort of bounce back and forth? Like, how do you work that out?
Yeah, we kind of do. I mean, what happened that first year was really about, we shared a lot of duties that it would have been their second to third year in, and I partnered with them on lots of things. And then into the third year, I just had some ideas about focusing on the women of Trek. I was really inspired by Nana Visitor's book, Open a Channel about the women of Trek. And I always kind of have felt, since kind of getting into the fandom, that we kind of overlook the women of Trek and people of color involved with Trek, and even as fans. I think that women and people of color and even the queer community gets a little bit overshadowed at times. And so I thought it was time we focused on that a little bit more if we could. And so I pitched that to the guys, and they were like, yes, do it, just run with it. And so it worked out well, because it was Voyager's 30th anniversary and we just started there. So I brought some other female fans together, and we started talking about the women of Voyager, and we've carried that in. Now I'm doing a series right now, just trying to finish up the women of Strange New Worlds, and I think it's just going to
listening to that recently. You had the Duras sisters on talking about
oh my gosh,
which was fascinating. You guys like tore that up.
They are brilliant, those two. If you're not listening to the Duras sisters, you need to, because they're fun, they're intelligent. My gosh, they're so smart, and they know their Trek inside and out. But they have just some great conversations, and they have fun, and that's really fun for me.
No, but yeah, really cool.
They're fun. I enjoy it. I love being able to shine a light on this. I love trying to partner with other podcasts, because I think we're all in the same bucket here. Really, in the end of then, we all want to talk about Trek, so we should just support each other, right?
Yeah, no, I mean none of us is getting rich off of this.
No.
Right. My mom's like, so how do you guys make money? I'm like, at my job at work.
Right.
This is fun. This is fun and worth any investment you have to put into it. It really is. So I wouldn't trade it for the world, honestly. I've met fascinating people. I've built friendships just in the short time I've been involved. I think that speaks a lot to a franchise that's going to be 60 years old. My goodness. I mean, that's wild.
That's what's coming up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it shows no sign of stopping. So
right.
Oh, no sign. Yeah.
So you get some pretty heavy hitters on there. I mean, you had what seemed like the entire main cast of Khan.
Well, we were able to do some of the early press interviews before Khan, the audio drama, came out, and that was exciting. But I'll tell you, when you're doing a podcast like Clonestar, where you're really trying to talk to the people that are involved in creating it and making it and all of those pieces, it's a lot of work on that side. It's a lot of fun when you get to sit down with these people and have these conversations, but the behind the scenes work is
I feel like you're showing up impeccably prepared. Like you've done your shit on the back end before you even
well, and even before you get to that point, it's about emails and messaging and repeat and repeat and repeat. So, I mean, there have been people that like show has been going after since day one, and now is just now getting to a point where you can get them into a date range to record with them. So it's a lot of effort. And I think people are like, oh, you get to talk to all these great people. And we're like, yes, we do. We really do. And we're honored and thrilled to have done so. But there's work that goes into that type of podcast that I think a lot of people don't
how
see.
you make these connections and how you make contact with these people and how that like what's the sort of backstory of how you
how is the sausage made? How do you do it?
You have the sausage questions.
Yeah, there's always a sausage question. So for this, I really think it's just about being tenacious and digging and researching, because a lot of these folks, you are obviously connected to managers or spokespeople or their press people. There's gatekeepers in place for them, and so you have to find those people sometimes and navigate that world. And I think it's really, I know it's a simple thing, but for us it's really about going back to kindness. We lead with just like, look, we're a small independent podcast, we're representing kind of 3 areas of the world where there's a large fan base, and we just want to talk about their career and how Trek impacted that and their lives. And it works. For some reason that pitch works for us. So but I think it's just been about that. I spent about 10 years of my life working for a national non-for-profit, and it's the same concept. When you're trying to do fundraising, you're calling, you're reaching out, you're building connections, you're establishing relationships. And it's really about going to the places where these people are. So if we can get to cons and talk to people and let them know that we're real people behind the microphone, and we're genuine fans. And I think, Show came up with this great phrase, and it's like, a little hashtag we often use, and it's for fans by fans. And we just try and keep that mentality in everything, in every way we approach stuff, is that, look, we're just fans, just here wanting to talk to these people and learn more about them and their careers.
Well, and the questions that you're asking, I mean, there's no way that you can fake being a fan. I mean, you're asking like, do you know what I mean? Like you're asking, there's nobody who would have the knowledge base to ask the questions that you're asking without being a genuine fan.
Oh yeah. You can't talk to, like, we during the Voyager series, boy, we had some great guests on, and like Lisa Klink, for example, who is just she such a big name in Voyager, in the story, in the writing.
Wrote many episodes,
and she's just kind and soft-spoken and just incredibly knowledgeable, but like, what a powerhouse to speak with, because she wrote some fantastic episodes, or was story editor. Well, she was, I think, story editor on Scientific Method, which I want to go back and talk to her, because I've got more questions. So
those are the people with the real insight. You know what I mean? I used to go to, Mike and I went to the D&I Con in Philly last year, right? And we saw Lolita Faggio, who was the script supervisor for the Berman era for a long time. And she's, of course, surrounded by all of the actors who are like her friends. And, everyone is like, who's Terry Farrell? Is that, like, which, of course, would love to talk to Terry. No, we love her. Stan.
Right.
But like, I'm looking at Lolita Faggio, and I'm like, she knows where the bodies are buried. Like, like, she knows how it all got made,
You talk to, I think, the writers and anybody that was in those rooms, in the writers' rooms for these shows, and even the authors of the novels, the tie-in novels. These people, they have access to the Trek archive of knowledge. They have been there trying to keep canon in line and create new canon for us, and they're the brains behind the operation at a big part of the level. I mean, they make the stories, right? They're making the stories.
So if you guys, get a big get, so to speak, like how do you negotiate who does the interview or who's going to be on? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
how are you all not like fighting over all these people all the time? How are you not all
it's
constantly there the whole time?
it's really interesting. I mean, you said that, and I was like, wow, we've never
You never thought of that.
we've never had that problem. Like we've just, I think Show is really conscious of like he knows that Voyager is in my wheelhouse, and so he'll happily punt that. But like TNG is more his wheelhouse. He's got a lot more knowledge base there, and Mike is really big. Obviously, he loves Voyager, and he's really been into like Discovery and Lower Decks. So I think we all kind of have our places we lean or gravitate to a little bit more, and I think we just play fair. Maybe that's the way it is. We just play fair.
Yeah.
We share the toys. That's
Yes.
all we do. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of room. I mean, this year has been very busy for us. We've gone nonstop this year, and I think it kind of took us all a little bit by surprise. And we here at the end, we're like, okay, we got to stop because there's like only like 7 weeks left to the whole entire year. We don't have time for all of this. We're gonna have to move forward, and that's what we're doing. Like we get together every December at the end of the year and look at what we've done, maybe where we could improve and where we want to go, and make that plan. And I think just like the outreaches to get these folks on board, it's also about planning at some level too. And don't get me wrong, there are times where something just comes out of the left field and you're like, okay, we're doing it. Make it happen. Yeah, right. I mean, I think there was one week this year I had like 6 recordings in the week just because that's when people could be there. So
wow.
And you're dealing with people who are in all different time zones.
Yes.
And like, I mean, even we have that just trying to record with people in LA because we're like, yeah, like we don't have a whole lot of timing flexibility because of our lives and jobs, and and you're like, or people in the UK, we've done that. We're like, do you mind staying up until 2 a.m. to talk to us?
Right.
Well, and like both Mike and Show obviously are over in the UK, and they, that's like 5-hour difference, for me, and the 8 hours for if they're going with anybody from LA. So it really becomes a bit of a hat trick, and sometimes it's just like I get some things by default, I think, just because timing wise, I'm here in the States and it just makes it a little easier. But I don't know, we make it work somehow. Knock on wood, we've been lucky so far.
Do you have anyone that or anything that in particular, any kind of direction that you're eyeing for the next, now that we're coming up on a new year? And
so we have a Patreon with some great dedicated people who have so generously become a part of that. But I think we're really trying to find ways to give more to that community. So we've been working on a series of content that will be specific for that group, which is just a whole other level of production that that's apart from just putting out the podcast. So we're excited about that, and I think we've got some unique collaborations in the works that I think fans are going to really enjoy. And it's going to be a fun year. I think it's going to be, I mean, it's Trek's 60th, so there's a lot to celebrate.
There's a lot.
Big milestone.
And I mean, I think we've got the anniversary of Enterprise coming up next year. That series will be 25 years old, I think. And I think there's an anniversary for the First Contact movie. So there's stuff.
Gosh, it is. Now, I think in doing our little pod here, I think we have found ourselves surprised at like the how much work it can be in various levels. Yeah. Is there anything that surprised you about what, in terms of the challenges of how much work this all can be?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I think some of the easiest episodes, at least from my perspective, have been like when I've brought other podcasters on or other fans on, just because then you're just talking about the topic. You're talking about Trek. You're not actually having to learn that person's history so much, or their work time in the industry of acting or whatever. And so I think those are easier episodes. I mean, you still put in the work. You're still putting together an outline of what you want that episode to cover. But I do think that, and I think it's interesting when you're working with a franchise where, where you have all these tie-in novels, we don't always know when those are hitting. And so if you're not sure like how to fit those in, and sometimes like, Paramount with the Trek franchise will, do something that we're not sure, didn't know was coming up. And so you've got to react to that. I mean, I love going into this next year knowing that we've got Starfleet Academy hitting in January, and we'll have Strange New Worlds, in the late summer, early fall, or whenever that's going to hit. But that's kind of nice knowing that those are out there and they've got a planned release, because it just helps. Planning is such such a big part of this. And I don't think I think they just think we sit down sometimes behind a microphone and start talking, which we can do that, but it's not how we ideally like to do that all the time,
Well, and it's funny when we I love listening to these podcasts that do like, episode reviews of like the new releases. But like, we're like, with what we do, we're like, we're not currently in a place where we can keep up with that.
Yeah.
So I look at those pods and I'm like, my God, they can have it reviewed and out. And I realize they get the content early, and so they get a head start. But like,
even getting the time to do it.
Yes.
What's that?
That's just it. You gotta have the time, right?
Yeah, like you just because you get it doesn't mean you actually can do it. Okay, we could have gotten something early. When are we gonna do it? We have full ass time jobs. Half the time we're like, can we push this? Let's see. Gotta stay
right. Right. I mean, Mike brought me into his episode reviews this year for Strange New Worlds, and we did get the episodes early. We were lucky to have that, but you're still watching a full episode, and you're probably watching it more than once. So
for sure.
Because the first time you watch it, you're like, "Oh, what's happening?" And then you're like, "Oh shit, I gotta go back." And
I'm like, I gotta talk to smart people about this. I gotta watch it more than once.
Exactly.
I gotta sound like I know what I'm talking about. I don't know. I tell you, I've never been happier with voice to texting or voice to writing, because I could watch the episode and say things out loud and just drop it. It's the best technological trick I can have come up with in this, is just because it saved me, because notes are my lifeblood. Like I take notes all the time because I'm old and I can't remember anything. So
no, you're not old. You're vintage. It's okay.
Vintage. Yeah. That I'll take that. Okay. I'm good with vintage.
The one thing I can't stand about the dictation is like sometimes it doesn't, the word that you say, I'm like, what was I saying there? Like going back to read a text and be like, that's not what I said.
No.
Gotta go back and edit.
I know. That's why I like being able to do it. And I know I'm going to rewatch the episode so I can edit my notes as I go, because I didn't say any of that. I don't have any idea what that was, but maybe I'll figure it out.
Well, I get with my boyfriend just watching me talk to our home robot, right? Whose name I won't say. And how frustrated I get trying to turn on the hall lights, which is like gives me a little bit of like comfort that like, the AI like takeover is not quite as imminent as it feels if it doesn't know how to turn on the lights just yet.
Correct.
We got, during the pandemic, we got Alexa devices so that we could communicate with other people, and it works out great, except one of my niece's names is Alexa.
Ooh.
So
oh my gosh.
And you don't think about it, but then all of a sudden you're like saying that name, so that's a trick, because then you're like, shut up. You're like yelling at this inanimate device who thinks you're always talking to it. So
I didn't say anything. It's not me. Like, oh baby, not you. I'm talking to the circle that's on the desk. Okay.
Right.
It's one of those names that people had no idea what they were doing when they gave their kids that name.
Right.
No.
Not unlike, actually, I have a friend named Karen. That's a real tough name to have right now. She literally, Karen, if you're listening, I hope it's okay to tell this story, that she like called us all together and was like, I thought, it felt like, and she is a lesbian. So I was like, I didn't think it felt like a coming out. So I was like, is this like and it felt like a name related. And I was like, is this like a non-binary? Like, what is this? What is this?
What's
and
happening?
She's like, no, I just can't be Karen anymore. It didn't work out. She's still Karen, but like, certain names.
Like I just can't handle that weight of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So can we venture into a little bit of your your own personal Trek history? Like you identify as a lifelong Trekkie. Like, do you remember how it started?
Oh yeah. So I mean, I tell everybody this, but like I'm a child of the 70s. Like I was, born back in the day, and I was a natural night owl. From a very young age, my parents will happily tell you how annoying that was for them. But I was very much my parents watched TV. My mom was very into entertainment and fashion and wanting to know all of that stuff. And my dad, if he couldn't watch a Western, he was watching sci-fi. So it was just always on. So very early on, I was like getting Trek reruns during, that era. And we went to the movies when they started hitting the scene. And I mean, I just have great memories of Trek always being a part of that. As with Star Wars, I'm going to talk about the other Star franchise, but like, I mean, I can still to this day picture being a 7-year-old going to see that movie in our local theater. And it was just, as a family, we went. So I think I was just lucky that my parents were okay with me watching Star Trek and going to Star Wars movies and watching Planet of the Apes probably at way too young of an age. So it just became part of who I was, and very much, part of my identity, because I think like I was very much into history and didn't read a lot of fiction, but the exception always seemed to be for sci-fi. So, and then TNG came out when I was like a senior in high school. So going into college, that just became, and you hang out with musicians and theater kids, and they're just can be just as geeky as the rest of us. So I think we just had, when we weren't practicing or performing, we were hanging out watching reruns of Brady Bunch or catching the new Star Trek. So because that's just what we did.
So it doesn't take a whole lot of digging to know that I don't feel out on a limb when I say that it's pretty obvious that Voyager is your favorite. And
I mean, I guess you could make that assumption.
Well, we all have our, I'm going to tell you right now, Mike is obsessed with Uhura. I want to be having a Ractogino at the Replomat right now.
Yes.
And Lenita loves Grey's Anatomy. So
yes, correct. The best Star Trek of all, Grey's Anatomy. Yes.
She sometimes forgets that this isn't a Grey's Anatomy podcast. So it hasn't happened yet, but it may before we're done.
It's true. But Damazon, you have to realize in the last maybe like 3 to 4 episodes we've recorded, it hasn't been me that has brought up the Greys.
That's true.
It has been one of you, and I've just taken that alley-oop and put it in the basket.
Oh my God. We've had some sports metaphors tonight. Unintentional.
Alley-oop.
Hello.
That is not normal.
I'm just, trying to show my less queerness. I know sports. Yay.
Sports ball. Yes.
Parisi squares, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Well, Parisi squares, I feel like I might be pretty good at with those blue spandex and I feel like I can do that.
You just want the outfit.
That is true.
I desperately want the outfit. And by the way, Jodi, you should know that Mike Jones's husband is among other things a costume designer.
Oh, nice.
Big promises for all the costumes that he's going to make up and has yet to do anything.
He also says yes to way too many things and doesn't have time.
Yes.
And there we go.
There's the truth.
He's been promising me a TNG scant for years.
I know.
Now that you should have, right? That just seems...
It's appropriate. If you saw his legs, you would understand.
His legs are not getting any better. They're not getting any better. It's time to do it now.
Oh my goodness. Oh, please.
But Mike, this was a long wind-up to an actual question, though, I promise.
Okay. We love a bird walk.
No, did you know right out of the gate that Voyager was going to be your favorite?
Did
you watch it first run? How did describe your love affair with Voyager, if I may ask?
Yeah. Well, I watched TNG as it, played out in real time, and was one of the many who had to sit through the entire summers waiting for that cliffhanger to be resolved. So, I just always was watching it as it came along. And then Voyager came on and I was like, UPN, what's this? Okay, fine. So, we're we're watching
the
this
beginning
now.
of networks. Oh my God, I
Yes.
remember. Kids don't
Yes.
understand that. Sorry to interrupt, but they don't
No,
understand.
but
Like there
they
were
don't.
just channels, and then there were new channels, and those new channels had new things, and you were like, "What is this?
What is happening?" That's another click on the dial or something,
know,
right? I mean, come on.
Exactly.
I remember when
And
Fox happened.
Oh, right.
Oh yeah.
That was a
Married
big
with
deal.
Children was scandalous.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was like the
scandalous.
do your parents let you watch Fox? You know?
Right.
Yeah, no,
I grew up
people didn't watch. People's parents didn't let them
small
watch The
town
Simpsons.
Indiana. That MTV, they didn't even carry that for a long time where I was, because that could not be seen on TV. My goodness.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the world. But yeah, so when Voyager came on, so what? It came on in like
95, 94?
94, yeah. And so I'm like mid-20s, teaching kids. I got a private studio. I was leading the true musician bohemian life, like living in a townhouse with like 2 or 3 other people. It was just what we did, right? And Voyager came on, and that was just, you play that, like watch that when you get home, or record it on the VCR. Right? Yes, come on. See, old. But yeah, I watched that as it happened, and I tell the story a lot. But my parents, it's me and my sister, so 2 girls growing up in the 70s, 80s, and my mom was very much telling us exactly how the world worked and what you needed to do to be a strong, independent girl in this world. And then all of a sudden Voyager comes on, and there's a female captain. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is just affirming everything my parents had taught me, and that you can be successful, and a woman can be in charge, and a woman can lead. And so it was very affirming that way. And then and the storytelling was fun. Like, we'd never seen a starship be stranded away from Starfleet and away from Earth and everything that it knew. So that was kind of new and exciting. And I think then when 7 of 9 came on in like 97 or whatever, I identified a lot with 7 for one thing. When I was little, I burnt both of my hands were burnt. I had 3rd-degree burns on both of my hands. It was a camping accident. We went camping in the Irish Hills, and the people who had been there before us left the campfire going, and 18-month-old Jodi got sat down and took off running, turned around, tripped, fell hands first into this fire. So it's like 71, 72. And I have no memory of it. My parents were tenacious and fantastic and got me to a plastic surgeon that felt he could repair them. So, but I've had these disfigured and scarred hands my entire life. And suddenly with 7, who was battling this, like, these are these things that make her different from everybody else and set her apart from everybody else, and how she had to adapt, was very much my story when it came to growing up with kids who were like, what's wrong with you? You're like, why your hands look like that? And not that I was ever bullied for that or anything, but kids are kids, right? Like, things are different. They're going to call that out. And so that 7 story just really, like, her ability to find that strength and kind of accept who she was, I think really just resonated with me. And I was like in my late 20s at this stage, and you're like, for the first time going, oh, there's somebody on TV that I kind of really do relate to. And so I think having Janeway and 7 in the same series, and Star Trek, which is, this idealist future that we hope to achieve, or at least looking back at it now, at least pointing out the things that we could be doing better in the here and now. And I think, these characters across Trek, I think, resonate to people on all sorts of levels. And it just, for me, Janeway kind of told me that, women could be in charge, and 7 told me you can accept your differences and be stronger for it. And I think at that, mid-20s, I was out at being an adult and raising money and doing all the crazy things you do in your 20s? Absolutely. But there's some strong lessons learned, I think, from Voyager. And so for me, it's felt like it's been my trek home, right? Like that's, but I mean, I think there's lessons I've taken from Deep Space Nine, and there's just these characters are just, there's some strong character writing that has come from these shows. And I think that's where a lot of my passion lies for the franchise is that I look at the starships and space stations all as characters as part of the story more than I do, because I don't know anything about nacelles or warp cores or any of that stuff. I have no idea. Lots of other people do, and I will rely on them for that.
You're not a ship nerd, is what you're saying.
I love the ships, but I have them all over this. I call it my nerd lair. My wife calls it my dork den, but they're all here, right? That's the person that I am married to, and that's a good thing. We keep each other in check. But yeah, I think they just, to me, they're characters. They're a big part of this. Like Janeway wouldn't have been able to have that whole entire Voyager storyline without that ship. That ship was, became their home, didn't it? So
yeah. Now here's a question I often wonder, because I think about myself watching Star Trek as like a nerdy queer weirdo preteen, and I don't think I was super introspective about what it meant to me. I think, if anyone were to ask me, I'm like, I don't know, I just like it. And then I would rattle off all the information about it. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I think it's only like as an adult that I feel like I have been able to like really look at what appealed to me about it. Like, do you have a sense of whether these things were conscious to you or not, or whether you were really just drawn to it? Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm asking?
Absolutely. So I know with Voyager, it was very conscious for me, because I have these memories of like certain storylines or certain moments of watching the show and it like clicking, like just pure identifying with what was being experienced or the emotion of what was happening. But like TNG, I mean, I watched it all, but it was just purely from like, isn't this just cool? I love watching Trek. Yeah. And even being young, watching the reruns of the original series, like I probably still, I mean, when I go back and watch that, I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of forgot about this storyline, because all I remember is like, isn't Spock cool? And isn't it cool that Uhura's on the bridge? Like I've just, and I think I said those things because I think that's what my parents were telling us. Like that was like, Mom, that was a big deal to Mom that there's a woman on the bridge of that original Star Trek. And so I think I was just a fan up until probably my mid to late 20s when Voyager came out, and then some deeper philosophy of what was happening kind of developed. And then you go back, right? Because that's what we do. We rewatch and we watch and watch and watch. Yeah. And so you go back and you start watching some of those favorite episodes or the movies or whatever, and you just start taking more from it. And I think that's the beauty of Trek and the world building and story building that they have done and continue to do, is it evolves as you evolve. And I think that connection can continue to grow if you let it. And also you can just watch it and just be purely entertained.
It can be a space adventure.
To be.
Yes, it doesn't have to be. But that's, I think, also the beauty of the fandom, is that you can find all of those conversations at any point in time. Right. So I think that's what makes it special.
Going back as an adult and watching, it's fascinating how queer coded a lot of, especially Deep Space Nine and Voyager was, that at the time went right over my head, because I was like not out to myself and like, but I look back and I'm like, oh, that's why I loved this.
Yeah.
Right. I at the time, like, I know, like, being at that age in my 20s and watching Voyager, I never thought of Seven as queer at that time, but it's been great going back and hearing like Jerry Ryan talk about how she wanted to play Seven as queer. They didn't want her to play Seven as queer.
I'm sorry. Can you tell us? I don't know that I've heard that before. Look at David's
like, what? Some of that? Yeah. So, 90s Trek, right? And the Rick Berman era. So just, and obviously Jerry Ryan was brought in to play 7 and 9 for a specific reason and audience grab, right? They wanted to appeal more to a male audience, and we all know this. But Jerry has said that she was reading Seven and playing Seven, that she just felt that Seven would be queer or bi at least, and that when she pitched that it got shot down. They didn't want her to play it as queer. But does that really stop an actor?
No.
I think it doesn't at all. And I think that's exactly what Jerry did. And as you see that character evolve, she definitely played that line very close. And I think that it resonates. And I think for me, one of the biggest joys I've had is during Picard. First of all, with Seven's return in that series, but then her having a relationship with Rafi in that show was just like, I mean, that was like pause the screen Super Bowl win moment because like you finally had two queer women on Trek, and it had been like, I think the first women and women kiss was in Deep Space Nine, but that had been like 20 whatever years before. So it was just a big deal. And then what I loved what that Picard brought is that so many younger Trek fans were getting to experience Seven for the first time in Picard. And then they go back and then watch Voyager. Yeah, the term they came up with is they called Voyager 7 Baby 7.
Yeah.
And
wow.
It feels true.
It's so true. It's so true.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you can learn a lot from these younger fans in the way they perceive these characters and the development of these characters. But I love that Seven and Jerry were able to come back, and here she is as an older, more experienced Seven of Nine, and these people are getting their first exposure to Seven, and then going back and watching Voyager and seeing all that nonsense that she went through. That's pretty powerful. But yeah, I think that Trek is very queer coded across the board in a lot of ways, and they do so subtly. And I think the 80s and 90s era, especially. But then you have things that, in the new quote unquote new era with Discovery, and where just
it's overt.
They're like, here we are. There are queer characters all over the place. And thank you. They should be, because queer people are everywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's
in the future,
interesting that
like
one of the things that I never picked up on as a kid and as a teenager, because sort of almost, I mean, from my generation, our generation, queer teenagers are by definition isolated and don't have a chosen family, yet they grow into adulthood and find chosen family. And that is, and one of those things are, as Sean Farrick always asked, what does Star Trek mean to you? To like, as just a general last question, right? And I have to think about that question if I hear it enough times. I'm like, what does it mean to me? And it is crew, it is family, it is, it is the camaraderie. And what is that really? That's chosen family. And what is that really?
Yes.
That is a queer construct from so many people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just, I think that people who don't see Trek as being political or being queer coded or all of these things they don't see in Trek, I don't know what they're watching. I honestly don't. There's levels to this, and there have been since day one, for over 60 years, right? So, and I think that's powerful. And I don't know that there are any franchises that can stand up to that level of commitment across so many decades and eras that we have been through. And I think that's just part of the power of it. And like I said, in the fandom, we ebb and flow. Sometimes we're butting heads a little bit more than normal, but I think that's part of Trek's power too. It makes us question, and it makes us have these sometimes tough conversations. And sometimes we have to validate the queer community, or why there's a person of color in charge of a starship, or a woman in charge of a starship, or whatever. Like, yeah, let's talk about it, because this is how it should be. It should be that way now. It should be that way in the future. It shouldn't be a problem in the future. It shouldn't be a problem now. But, that's just me. Who am I?
No, but at the end of the day, if we talk about the future and Star Trek being, and it's not a utopia, right? It's not a
No.
perfect society, but it is a vision of what it can be if we all strive from understanding and coming at it with an open mind. And yeah, in the future, there are going to be every type of person, alien, creature, being in control of something. Like it can't stay the same. Like, and that's where in my mind it's like the utopia of it is. It's like, yeah, of course there's a woman running a starship. What the hell's wrong with you?
Right.
She's best in her fucking class and she got the job. As it should be now, but things.
Right.
Why is there a black guy running Deep Space Nine? Because he knows what he's fucking doing. That's why.
Absolutely.
Because he's got the pedigree and the temperament to deal with the here's the thing. Cisco had to deal. No, I was thinking about this the other day. How, yes, all of the captains met different people that they encountered because they went there. Deep Space Nine, everybody was coming to him.
Yes.
I feel like more like Cisco probably encountered more quote unquote alien beings than any other captain because of where he was situated in the universe and having the wormhole to an entirely different sector of the galaxy, just in general. Like Quarks had everybody. Like
Right.
And being able to be a diplomat, to be able to deal with all of those cross sections of folks and still not have the ship blow up or the station blow up.
Well, it's interesting too because you had Deep Space Nine and Voyager running kind of parallel, right, through the 90s.
Yeah.
And they're both very non-traditional Trek shows.
Sure.
They really are. Like, you've got Voyager off in a completely other quadrant, light years away. You've got Cisco out there in Deep Space Nine trying to navigate the chaos of that. And they really were two very different shows. And I think sometimes as a fandom, we forget that those, people didn't like TNG when it came out because it wasn't the original series. It wasn't like that. We didn't need to have a new captain. Deep Space Nine was completely new. Yeah. Voyager was completely new. So I think it's funny to me, I guess, or ironic that the fandom goes all up in arms when something's not like it used to be. And I know that
never going to be.
It's never going to be.
Because that's the point of Trek, is that each iteration shows you a different possibility.
Yes.
Every iteration of Trek shows you a different possibility, and each of those possibilities is fucking fabulous.
Yes. And it should challenge us, and it should push us, and it should make us question and think and understand. And if it's doing that, then it's doing something right.
Its job. Correct.
Yeah. And I think that's, Star Wars has really been pushing like its world building and really trying to, expand that from something that started as a movie franchise, going now into, streaming and all of that. But I think it's the same concept. Like, we as Trek fans come from these very, anchored series and that expanded into movies. And so we have a little bit of a different perspective because world building for us is just natural as Trek fans. Like, we get all sorts of characters and storylines and things like that. But I think I love that those two franchises are pushing the envelope and continue to do so for us, because I believe there are always lessons to be learned from these shows. And I look forward. I'm excited about Academy. We've never had this perspective.
Yeah.
Right.
And they've been pushing some version of this since the early 80s.
Right.
We're
finally doing it. Well, it always has to be in some ways a mirror to us, our present. So it has to evolve with us, and I think the people who don't want it to change are too beholden to the nostalgia, I think, of what they liked before. But no, it's art. I mean, it's a living thing. Like, it has to keep going and change and evolve.
we were a big musical theater family growing up. My mom was very big into Broadway and all of that. And I thought up until I was about 12 years old that when you cleaned the house, you always did so singing the soundtrack of West Side Story. Like I didn't know you.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
That's good cleaning music.
it really is. I thought everybody's mom ran the vacuum cleaner singing Tonight. I just didn't know that. And so, yeah, this is my world. So, but I think that's the other thing. Like you see like these musicals that have been around for decades and decades, and the people may change, but the story, the sound, the music, all of that does not change. And you see these things like Wicked is a big thing in our house right now because my wife has seen it in New York, and now the movies, and oh my gosh, and we're going to be gone when the next movie. It's a thing. It's a
Gone
big
where?
thing.
Wait. What do you mean you're gonna?
Well, we're going to
gone?
be on vacation to Florida. We're going to the Disney.
Yeah. Okay. So okay. Let me explain
Downtown
something to you.
Disney, great theater.
Anita.
Yes, I know, but
Huh? You're gonna be in the happiest place on earth.
Right.
Take yourself to the movies on the 21st. What is wrong with you?
I've tried to convince her.
You gotta
this,
spread
but-
that happiness out. Why are they gonna do
Yes,
that happiness
yes.
at Disney when they can do it in Indiana? I mean,
Right, I need that
Rita.
here. Trust me.
You can do it twice. I am.
I know.
Listen.
Oh, right. It will be never ending once it starts. But yes, I agree. I will see what I can do. But my point is that I think we have to remember that we change and evolve as people. And
You would
even
hope.
if you would hope, and I know not everybody does. I'm wise enough to know this, but if we can go back and return, like if we can let something like Wicked or West Side Story live on stage and then live on the movies and be something different for different generations or something new for the people who have loved it since the beginning, that kind of evolution is what I want more people to do, because that translates then into people's lives. At least I believe it does.
Absolutely.
Right. And I think that's what these space soap operas, as a lot of writers sometimes refer to them, do.
Oh,
I
don't. They're not stories. Listen, I watch stories, okay? All My Children, One Life to
Right.
Live, General Hospital, As the
Right.
World Turns. So, Santa Barbara. Here's the thing. These are
Santa
not
Barbara.
these are not stories.
Wait.
So
So
you-
you watched all the ABC ones, and then you turned to CBS for one, and then
So let's be clear.
NBC for the end.
My great grandmother watched what she watched. And when I had my half days,
I mean,
I
same.
watched what she watched. We watched Card Shark. We watched Pressure
Yeah.
Luck. We watched Wheel of Fortune. We watched the stories. I don't ask questions. I sit at the table, eat my lamb chops, mashed potatoes, corn, drink my Tang, and am joyous,
Dang.
Yeah.
joyous
Dang.
with my Italian seasonings that came out of a packet with olive oil shaken in the glass jar. Okay, so let's be clear. In my Catholic school uniform, swinging my legs at the table, enjoying my life.
See, we were a
Painted a
CBS
picture.
family. We even watched The Bold and the Beautiful.
Oh,
And
The Bold and the Beautiful was my grandmother. not
same, my
great-
grandmother. And or we would change to Another World briefly on NBC. But you
Yeah.
know what? You know what we did while we did that? Me and my grandmother, we played with Barbie dolls.
See what I'm saying?
Yes.
This is
Just-
how this works.
This is a bird walk. Sorry, Jody. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I completely understand.
No, it's because I don't. When people are like they're not soaps because I know what a soap are like. Grease. See, this is where this comes in. Started not as a little soap. It's a little more soapy now. I get it. Fine, but Star Trek these two are like lifelong Trekkies, like little boys watching things. Me, not so much. There was a couple episodes I may have watched when TNG came out, whatnot, but I more adult watched it. Completionist, everything that's been on, I've watched it except all of the movies. So I don't have that same like nostalgia, but I know it's not a soap. There were actual stories with full rounded characters. Original series, sort of flatter. However, they had a point of view. The further we get along in Trek, the more they build out the inner turmoil. Because I know Roddenberry didn't want conflict, yada, yada, yada. But like soaps don't do that. It's just like singular focus. Like original series, more soapy than this new Trek. Like you wouldn't get to know the inner thoughts and dialogues of why people behave the way they do, where they come from.
Backstory.
Right.
Full backstories.
Mm-hmm.
Flashbacks, backstories. You know? Like you get to see, oh damn, you was fighting the Gorn. That's insane.
Right. And I do think, like, I mean, trauma. So much trauma. And
So much trauma.
to your point, in soap operas, trauma is pretty superficial,
Yes.
at least in the early days of soaps, right? It was very
Oh, it was always superficial. Somebody died, someone's getting divorced.
Kidnap my
You
twin.
come,
Yeah.
yes, you
Back from
come
the
back.
dead.
Listen,
I mean,
passion.
Elena
was the
possessed by
best.
the devil.
Right.
Sorry, I had to
Yeah.
say that.
Stefano ruined your life. Whatever.
Yes.
Stefano. Yes.
Timmy the doll is a doll, but he actually talks to
I
the
knew
lady
that
witch.
doll from
Passions
Passions.
Oh, that's so great.
I knew
love it.
her. Casey. Hi, Casey.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
Oh, so true though. It is interesting though when you hear writers refer to it, like people who've written for the shows.
Yeah.
And they call it soap operas, but I guess, for them, there may be some formula to the way
Of
it has to
course.
be put together. And especially for those folks that were doing this in the 80s and 90s, where they're putting out 22, 26 episodes a season.
Yeah.
My goodness. That's
Like a Mad Libs, and I
Crazy.
understand.
Yeah.
I understand. I understand how they feel that way, but it doesn't come off like that. Like it
No.
just doesn't. It
no.
it was grounded. Like soaps were never really grounded. Like you always knew it was fantastical because
Yeah, yeah.
you can't be run over by a train in a car and only come out with a scratch and he's gonna no, you're dead. Like like there were consequences. There's always consequences in Trek, no
Yes.
matter what.
Right.
Like,
I
there
mean,
was some
nobody's
type of-
ever dead in sci-fi, but
Right.
there are
You're-
consequences.
There
Well,
are consequences.
There are consequences.
Well, we learned
Amy
that from that
Brown
we
died.
bought the TNG Bible from David Gerald at the convention, Mike, remember? And we
Yeah.
and it says in there that how important it is that your audience believe this as some kind of reality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why they had to kill Barial. Poor man. He didn't deserve it.
Poor man.
He didn't deserve it. She
God.
deserved
That's a
it.
whole other
I do think
episode.
that
Let's talk about Kira and how Kira has that woman just needs a hug.
Oh,
she needs a
I
friend
mean,
and
a friend.
a
I mean, a big hug, like a big tittied hug, like
Yes.
somebody who can nestle her sweet small head in their bosom.
All
and
that
say,
and her
"It's
mom was
okay,
fucking
baby."
Ducat. I mean, like,
Right.
what? I mean,
What?
just
She
Trauma.
needs
It's
trauma.
too much.
Trauma. I like every time I watch Deep Space Nine, I'm like, Kira, girl. I mean, the one friend she had gets offed by Ducat.
Yeah.
Every man that she was with.
I
gone.
mean, you would think that she was a sister from Practical Magic. You would think that she didn't deserve that. We don't get men. We don't get love.
we don't get love.
We
No,
don't get love.
no.
Oh,
That's
It's
But
starting
she's
to
good at
sound
her
more like a
job.
soap.
yeah.
I think that in the 90s
Yeah.
when they were doing 24 episodes or whatever, 26 episodes a season, it was kind of a machine. And the episode that we watched, Scientific Method, it's funny because it was great to rewatch it because I definitely get it mixed up with, and I don't remember the title of it, but the TNG episode where they're not
Schisms.
sleeping.
Schisms. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I was like, this is the Voyager take on schisms. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
So it's
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
almost you see at Mad Libs, you see some of the same plots popping back
Yes.
up,
I always felt like when Voyager did that, though, that if they borrowed from TNG, they always sort of complicated it. They twisted it and made it more complicated.
Absolutely.
Wait,
I mean, they had
I
to-
don't remember that episode. I'm literally looking it up right now. I'm like, "Schism, what the
Oh.
Yeah,
fuck?"
schisms is a big deal. That's a big one.
They all
Um,
have the same nightmares and they realize they've been abducted
Yeah.
by aliens in their sleep and experimented on.
Can I
have
rewind,
to go back
Jody,
and
and
watch
say
Oh.
and ask? So just a reminder to our listener that the thing that we asked of Jody before we met is pick a Voyager episode for us to rewatch,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
Jody picked Scientific
know.
Method. So can I ask
Why?
what got you there?
Well, we talked about this earlier, but I think there are a lot of episodes that get all the attention. There's and Voyager has a lot of good episodes, don't get me wrong, but I think there are a lot that are underrated, and I think and that have significance, and I think Scientific Method is one of those episodes, at least for me. Now there are some things I question in this episode, like I definitely,
What do you
am
question?
like, well, it's Janeway, who was happy to at any point in time was like, oh, I'm gonna form a relationship with the Borg so that we can further our our trek home. And she was willing to bend the rules when she needed to, right? But I think sometimes, like in this situation where she's being manipulated by this alien species, being experimented on, right, unbeknownst to her and the rest of the crew, she has this mood change, and everybody is noticing it, but nobody's saying anything, and even Janeway's aware of it, but she's not stepping back. And I think the fact that Janeway was unable to step back in this episode and kind of evaluate and see, not only was this a change in her, but there were other crew members acting differently.
Tuvok
right?
even calls her on it. I mean, it says like, shall I have them flogged as well? And she's like,
yes.
Okay,
And I think that's the other part of this episode that I do like, is that there are some foundational relationship things in this episode that I think are pretty key. You've got the whole the episode opens with B'Elanna and Seven in the Jeffries tube, and B'Elanna's like getting on Seven's case for not following protocols, and she has that realization that suddenly, oh, this is the same conversation Janeway had with me when we came aboard as Maquis. And I think that's the moment, for me at least, I see that as the moment where B'Elanna looks at Seven differently. Is she still going to give Seven a load of crap for the rest of their time?
Yes.
Absolutely. But she understands Seven better from this moment on. And I think that's interesting. I think the fact that Tuvok calls out Janeway, we know that they're good friends. They have a lot of respect for each other, but the fact that he's willing to stand there in his very Vulcan way and be like you said, shall I have them flogged as well? Like, and that checks her. He just is able to do that. And so I think that's special. But the questioning thing, like, let's talk about the Janeway and Dr. Massage scene.
Oh my God, ridiculous. That was so brilliant and funny, but weird.
Weird, right? Like, I love, obviously, like Kate Mulgrew and Picardo are good friends. They clearly got along well in this show by this stage, and they were playing it up. Like, they were doing such a nice job in that scene. But at the same time, I'm like, what were the writers thinking? Like, what was happening here? Like, why was this the thing they decided to go with? And I'm like, it feels awkward, and I'm not sure I want to be watching this, right? Like, there's that moment for a bit there, right? You're like, should I be seeing this from a captain? I don't know.
I also the fact that she was like ready to go to work with no clothes on.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Right. And I mean, at that stage of the episode, we don't know that she's being manipulated, right?
Correct.
So
right.
But in retrospect, you're like, oh, you are. Because they said for a few weeks. We've been doing this for a few weeks.
Yeah.
So that's why you're like, oh. And honestly, I was like, oh, that would be a good use of the electronic medical personnel. Massages. Right. When he said I don't get tired, I was like, damn, that would be so nice.
I love that he's like, I don't get tired, and she's clearly being beaten up. And
he's giving her a deep tissue massage.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I was like, I need to show this episode to my massage therapist because he's not going hard enough.
Like, this is what I need. This is when I say attention. This is what I learn
from this, right?
Correct. And honestly, I forgot that this was the hair that she had. Like,
again, the hair.
Like, no, but I forgot that it was the coif.
Yes.
And then we are obsessed with hair. And then the flip back to the ponytail. I was like, oh, that was this Janeway hair iteration.
I mean, her hair changed like every 4 episodes. So I mean, it was right. Like, she's another one of they couldn't figure her hair out. But yes, and then I love that her hair, as you realize that she's more and more stressed, it becomes more and more disheveled.
Correct.
And, I mean, that was smart to, just a subtle visual for us as a viewer.
Sure. Well, and her makeup.
She looked terrible.
Tired. Like, that girl was tired.
I mean, capital T tired.
Yes. I mean, not to jump to spoilers, but
we've watched the episode. Like, you've had all the time.
It's not spoilers, but to these aliens are idiots because they tortured the captain and didn't think, oh, maybe she'll kill us all. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like they pushed her to and they were
Yes.
like, well, there were debates on when you would break. And it's like, she's in charge of, she could fly us into a star. You know,
I mean, that was their biggest mistake, is telling Janeway, like, we were taking bets on when you could break, and she'll be like, oh, want to watch me
She's like,
break?
oh,
I'm
okay.
gonna
my
break
beer.
right now.
Right now.
Right
but,
now.
But that's what I enjoyed when, honestly, because I didn't remember, like fully remember the episode because it's been so long since I watched it. When she went to that console and was like, fuck this shit.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, she's not playing, like, it wasn't chicken. She was serious. Like, we're doing this. We're doing this. And I feel like somewhere in the back of her mind, she was like, it'll be fine. Like, just the smallest little grain of, well, it'll be fine. Someone has said somewhere something that we can make it through this thing, and the calculate, we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not going to tell me what I can't do. Because I'm going to show you what I can do, is how I took it.
Yes.
And when homegirl was like, tickety, tickety, tick, oh, mama, you can't do that. I'm in charge. Like, you think that you have control, but I'm in charge. You can take the sticks out my head.
Yes.
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 All of the things, did all of the things question? Did all of the things disappear when they disappeared? Because I remember they say, like, we did whatever to try to but like the sticks that are in people's heads,
So I think the doctor had to, like,
get all
remove all that out. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
Okay.
From what I understood. And I think, what you were talking about with that scene where she's like, I'm flying into this, whatever, pulsar or whatever. Right before that, one of the crew members had died because of the experiments that these aliens were doing.
And that was her break. That was her breaking point.
Janeway's whole mission is to protect that crew and get them home.
Every single soul, like every time someone went down, it was like, does anyone done like how many they started off with and how many?
Yes. Oh,
I'm not even being
right.
like,
Yes.
I know.
And that's why on Voyager I hate when crew members die on Voyager, because you're like, there's so few of them.
Yeah, that's right. Right.
Like, you're gone, like you're lost forever. I do wonder, like, it started off with like 575. I always wonder how many people it takes to run a ship, because they're huge and it hurts my head. And then
I think Voyager was small. Like, something makes it was like 140 or something that they wound up with the Marquis crew. So it was a small crew complement. Ooh, look at me saying
you
Star
said
Trek
you're not
words.
a shipper.
Exactly.
I just surprised myself. Yes.
All right, so minor spoiler here, that we tend to ask our guests like who their captain is, and
why would we
why
do
is that
that? We
spoiler?
already
Where-
we already know.
we already know who it is. This is documented. And we had
She's
one.
gonna say Pike.
No,
Yeah, no, we know your answer, Jodi. So I feel like this is okay to tell you.
But here's the thing: the caveat to that answer for me is going to be they made Seven a captain,
Right.
Oh, sure.
and so I really feel like, I don't know, her and Janeway are like, even though I've not seen Seven as a captain for more than like 30 seconds, however,
comma.
There's going to be a lot of Janeway in that captain role there too. So is Janeway my captain? Absolutely. But if there's ever a show with Seven as captain, I feel like I could be swayed.
I feel very that, yes. But we had our friend Austin. Hi, Austin. Was on and blew my mind with his answer. He said cherub. You call him cherub.
I was like, you talking about the cherub? Okay,
Who's Austin?
Cool. You saw my face.
I love it.
Is an excellent human and our friend. He said his answer was Janeway, and he's like, this is math. Janeway is my captain because of math, because Janeway is the one captain who is the most committed to all of my crew survives. And that there's so many other captains are not willing, but understood that losing crew members is part of it. She's like, I'm losing no one.
Right. Picard didn't want the kids on the ship.
They had to go.
They had to go.
I agree with Picard, but
I mean, they shouldn't have been there. But when you've got however large, I mean, that Enterprise D was huge, right? Like they had families on there.
Boo, birth control. Like in the future, like here's what I'm hoping for in the future.
Okay.
As a person who can give birth and who has to deal with, I call it Women's Week every month.
Every month.
I wish that there was a way that there could be a button that you pause, that your body still does whatever it has to do, but there is a pause until you are ready to have a kid. And then you unpause, do the business, however you're going to do it. No one's
Right.
telling you how. You have the amount of offspring that you choose, and then pause until such time that we then have to possibly go through the change. But I don't even think the change should be a thing. I think there should be a hypo spray that says you're done with the kids.
Yes.
Great. We're going to rebalance all those hormones that should have been lost. You don't know, Damazon.
I'm just nodding. I'm sorry.
I know. And I'm just trying to tell you that it's a
real
would not
thing.
change. I would not change my form for anything. However,
there are things.
having to deal with said thing from 4th grade until infinity, it would seem, is unfair because the dictator is a solo project. There is nothing else. There's no group happening here. Why do I need it?
Right.
That's what I want in the future.
You will get no argument from me, none whatsoever. So,
I want that in the future.
I feel like
should
this has
be.
definitely been invented in the future.
But they don't seem to.
So that's
use
what I'm
it.
saying. You don't need kids. Like there shouldn't be kids on the ship because you're in fucking
Isn't there
space.
something even? There should be like. Isn't there a rule? Starfleet is full of rules.
Full of
Why are we
rules.
putting children
At
on
risk?
Yeah.
Red alert.
Isn't there
should
like
be
a
the first-
holographic facility where you can put those children to
Put
be
them
raised
in-
and then go get them when they're done?
They wouldn't know. They wouldn't know. It's a hologram. They wouldn't know.
Be like, oh yeah, this is my mom.
I want to say about this episode also is that it raises all of these doubts. And going back to Tom and B'Elanna, there's so much in their relationship that is really has all of these sci-fi stories like deeply interwoven into it, where you could look at this episode and be like, how much of the sort of naughty physicality of their relationship was provoked by these aliens? Like how much of their entire experience, their like liftoff as a couple happened here?
Is this the liftoff of them as is this truly?
No, I mean
the
it was
start?
brewing before, but
No. I know, but like, hello, you know that it's not like in my brain canon, like it's in yours.
It's not
so I have to
actually.
ask the
I'm going to
question.
defer to Jodi on this because I don't.
Okay, Jodi.
I do think that it's a defining moment for their relationship. Like I think from this episode on, we see
out.
them as a couple. Yeah, they're
Understood.
yeah, that's kind of set. But I mean, there are things like, well, immediately after this episode is Year of Hell. You know, that two-parter. And so things go a little crazy there for a while in the episode. So the relationship really maybe doesn't kind of come back to the forefront until after that chaos.
Lanita, Year of Hell is the episode with Red Foreman. Okay.
From that 70s show.
I was trying to help.
I know you are, and I just Voyager. I think I've watched Voyager the least. Honest, just
yeah,
off
I get
rip.
it.
Yeah. No, don't. It's not. Don't do it like that. No. I love Janeway. Don't. The I get it was very like.
There's a lot of
most
Trek.
people- There is.
There's a lot of Trek.
The problem is that I can't go to sleep to Voyager because I want to watch it.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
I can
get
like
that.
I can put on TNG or I can put on Deep Space Nine, and if I'm tired enough, like just get the opening moment, and then when the credits roll, like I'm asleep before the music has stopped. But Voyager, I'm like, oh, what's happening on this episode? What's happening? And the minute that she says Chakotay's name the way that she does, I'm like, well, I'm in. I forgot how like crisp, like it's so sensual, but not. We know things like but like at the moment you're like, oh, it has some body to it. Like the way she says his name, I love. And I forgot about that. And she said it. I was just like, oh.
Yeah.
Well, now you raise an issue that I have to inquire about. Jodi, are you
Yes.
a shipper when it comes to Janeway Chakotay? A JC shipper?
I more so than I ever was Chakotay in 7.
Oh,
Well,
well,
that goes
Because
without saying.
nobody.
Nobody should. That just I at some point in my life will pay somebody to edit the in game. I just need that out.
I don't know.
there.
I didn't understand at the time why it made my skin crawl to the extent that it did.
But it does. It
Yeah.
does.
Something ain't right about it. Yeah.
No, but yes, I think this whole series, from the moment Chakotay came on Voyager, those two were playing the flirtation from day one, and I think it was written into script that way, and it was interpreted by the actors that way. And
yeah, it was a slow burn. It was like
it
this. It was just right behind. Like you're playing completely 99.9% straight.
Yes.
Yes, they're straight, and then
they're straight,
and then there's 0.1% where it's like, wink, wink, nod, nod. I would rip your clothes off, but I'm never gonna. But I'm never going to say that out loud.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna say it.
Yes, always. At any given point in time, any time that the two of them are in a scene together, one or both of them are playing into that relationship,
and not overtly so, which is really cool. Yes, Mike Jones.
That's fun for an actor to play.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is also Jonathan Frakes and Marina Sirtis, basically, with no direction and probably direction not to, still
I fucking each other at every moment
every
they
time.
can.
Right. Every time. Right. And I think that's why I don't think that Star Trek is a soap opera, because if it was a soap opera, they would have leaned so much into this whole
to everybody being
that's true.
Yes.
How many people would be sleeping with how many other people? And,
oh my gosh. And on Voyager, they had limited resources, right? Like the relationship should have been overlapping left and right in reality. But
correct.
We get B'Elanna and Tom, and we get Chakotay and Janeway flirting, and that the Doctor has some odd relationships here and there, and great for him.
Yeah, and then Kit has a back baby.
Right.
Yes.
Back baby. It's kind of like this episode. There are some choices that the writers made that I go,
why?
What was going on in your world at this time? Because here's this episode, scientific method, and like we are torturing people left and right, and
left and right.
Somebody was having a bad time in the Raiders room. I don't know what was going down, but I got to talk to Lisa Klink, I think.
There's that weird moment where Neelix brings Chakotay a glass of water, and Chakotay's like, "What's that smell?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, that's me. That's my new DNA taking shape." Like,
you're like, what has happened? Yeah, what is happening? I don't know.
Also, poor Chipotle. Oh my God.
Chipotle. Yeah.
I really was trying not to say Chipotle.
We know.
When the way they explain what's happening to him, it sounds like he's just getting old, but damn, he looks bad. Like, is that what he's going to look like when he gets old?
I know.
No, Robert Beltran is getting there, and he looks just fine.
He
looks just fine. That is not what he would look like at all.
Felt like Chakotay or Chipotle, whatever we're calling him now. Thank you for that. It's now in my brain. But he looked a lot like Tom did during Threshold when he became right. It was
like the same
very like spit out his tongue, Yeah.
I will say though, when the doctor brought up the disease progeria, just know that like it is the one child, terrible disease, terrible, but they are the cutest children. They're so old. They are adorable. I love them. I want nothing but them to live forever. I know that they do not, but they are the sweetest. Look, they're little old people. I love them so much. I was like, no, he does not look like that. Do not diss those children. They are adorable. Right. He looks like a skeleton. He looked like Jack Skellington.
It like the model before they actually made Jack Skellington. Like, is this what we want to go for? No. We're gonna try something else. Yeah.
I'm happy that we watched this episode because I'm now sort of like, I think it's time to go and dive back into the
Yeah.
Voyager of it all.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
'Cause
There's a
I'm-
lot of really good, like, I don't want to call it a bottle episode because I don't think it qualifies as that, but it's like a self-contained story that,
Yes.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
just comes out of nowhere, right? Like you're
Mhm.
like, oh, now what? Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Wow.
Mhm.
I mean, like you're talking about Janeway like charging into the pulsar. Like that's a little bit of a Thelma and Louise moment for Janeway. She's like,
Absolutely.
and then I love, like I said,
Janeway
it
has a lot
carries
of
it.
those.
She does. She's not afraid to cross that line by any means. But like then she carries that into that same mentality into Year of Hell. And I just
Mhm.
think scientific method gets overlooked because Year of Hell, that two-parter. But Janeway, you see Year of Hell Janeway in scientific method.
Absolutely.
And I think it's interesting that those 3 episodes happen back to
In the
back.
same, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice little trilogy situation. Now I'm gonna have to go watch those too because I don't. Again, it's like the thing that I don't remember. But I've always loved. She is strong. She's also so empathetic and collaborative. Always making the final decision. And in this one, it was like, okay, you thank you, Seven, for doing the thing, bringing me all the information, right? And now, and when you said that she usually who was it tries to like work with and like bring the aliens in, she tried that. She tried to be diplomatic. Like she
Yes.
tried to say like, listen, the experimental thing, like you're hurting my crew, like okay, we can give you I feel like she was trying to say like, hey, we can probably give you some information. What do you want to know about? But the fact that this alien was like, no, this is the way we do this, and guess
Yeah,
what, you're
right.
just going to lose like 5% of your people. It'll be cool.
Right,
like
and there'll be
it's
some mutations, but
Right.
they'll be fine. They'll all live. Like someone may end up, with half a head, but they'll be fine.
They'll be
Don't
fine.
worry.
send them to the farm.
She tried. She
Mhm.
did.
Yeah.
And Home Babe was like, nah, that's not the way we roll. So Janeway said, bet, hold
Okay.
my beer. I'm going to
Bet.
show you what we do.
Yes.
I also
And
want
I
to point
love
out
that. Yeah, go ahead.
there's that scene with 7 of 9 where she's walking, gets out of the turbo lift, and has to pretend like she can't see them, but
Yeah.
she can.
All of them. Yeah.
So
It's
good.
perfect.
So good.
So
acting.
good.
It is. And I love that, this is Seven's first season, right? In the series.
Mhm.
And we're at episode 7 and she's like already
Star.
saving everybody, right? Like
yeah.
she's on it. And so like, yeah, are we really questioning her loyalty for another season or 2? Yep, we're going to. Okay, fine. But whatever. It happened.
No,
But
it was great, and I think that it really showcased the way that an augment, like a person who had been Borgified and now isn't, like when she's just off rip says to Blana, I've never had to think about hierarchy because we
Yeah.
were all a collective. It reiterates it like the Borg is a collective, a hive mind. So if I think it, then they know that I'm doing the thing. And if they had a problem with it, it would be communicated back. And her being severed and being an individual, trying to learn how to navigate individualism within a group of people who's a collective, but they're not linked in that way, I was like, that's right, 7, she is a baby. She's a little baby. She's getting her feet,
is.
like learning it all out, like, and then being like, I am sorry. Like truly, like that scene sort
Yeah.
of cements that relationship a little bit.
It really does. It really does. And I think that's, like I said earlier, that there are a lot of episodes in Voyager that get overlooked, but we got to look closer at those episodes because there's a lot of foundational character development and story development that carries forward. It's kind of like you watch all of Voyager and then go back and watch Caretaker, because Caretaker gets overlooked, I think, as a stellar premiere for a series.
Yeah.
But if you go back and watch that, you see everything you need to know about each of those characters in Caretaker. And it just carries through the whole series.
Yeah, they were really smart in all their initial setup of all these characters.
They really were, which is, I think, unique. I don't think we really saw that in a lot of 90s era.
We certainly didn't see it in Next
No.
Generation. Yeah, they
No. Oh, no.
They all had somewhere to go, a journey.
Yeah.
They didn't come in fully formed. I mean, fully formed, but not like in their final form.
No.
Mhm.
Should we jump into some rapid fire?
Yes.
Are you going to do them? Are you going to
Yes.
do them real and right and not skip and all of the things?
Now there are rules. Look, see the rules.
No, there aren't rules. It's that
This
Mike
is our
Jones.
this
he's
is
the
how we
captain.
haze new friends, and it's
Oh,
only
yeah,
gone
great.
south one time ever. So
Okay, I
Truly.
see.
That's true.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we remember that. I see.
That's true. Yeah.
No,
so,
no, it's
yeah,
well because Mike Jones will be like, "Well, I'm not going to ask this one. Ask them all." Go.
well, so, yeah, there's a list of questions that we ask every guest, quote unquote.
Okay.
But then most recently we had Zuri Washington on, who's an actress in Con.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And she's not a Trekkie. And some of these are very Trekkie heavy
Very
questions.
Trek.
So you can't like
Yes.
ask her like,
You will have no issue. I promise. You'll be fine.
you will have no issue.
You'll be
Okay.
fine.
All right. I'll trust you.
Okay. The first one's a heavy one. If you could have dinner with 3 characters, the characters, not the actors, who would they be and why?
Well, yeah. So 7.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be Rafi from Picard. Rafi, because she knows everything about the Romulans. Like, she has got that spy Romulan background, and we haven't really gotten into that too much. We dance around the Romulans a little bit. I mean, they're in. Yeah, I want to know.
I love
She
that
knows.
answer. I love Rafi and I love the Romulans.
No one has
and I'm so
ever
glad that you
said
that.
Rafi.
Yeah, that's
Oh
great.
well, they should. They're missing out on that. And that it would probably be Janeway, but if she canceled, I would invite Worf,
Sure.
because I think
Captain
Worf.
duties came up. Okay.
Yeah, she's an admiral probably, and somewhere, and yeah,
Right.
she's
right.
got better things.
Might be
to do.
going back in
Accept
time
your
to
invitation.
save people.
But yeah, I think that's it. Would be
Good
that.
choices.
If you lived in the 24th century, what would your life be like? Would you join Starfleet? Would you stay on Earth? Would you do a
Yeah,
subspace
wow.
podcast?
Be a part of what do they call the news network? That's
right,
whatever that is. I don't know. No, I'm not doing that. I thought about that because so many people are like, oh, I would be in the science division or I'd be in the command division, and I'm like, I don't know. I think like I would want to be a counselor, I think, on some of these starships, because like Voyager desperately needed one.
Oh my God. Yes.
Right? Like they could have used a counselor, and Deep Space Nine probably could have used 2 or 3, and it always fell on the medical chief medical officer,
Right.
and they got enough to deal with. I think a lot of these officers and Starfleet crew members needed somebody to talk to.
Right.
And I think I could do that. Or I'm just gonna hang out with Guinan and 10 Forward, and I could do that too. So
You like
maybe-
the morn of 10
More
forward.
10 forward. Yeah.
Play a few sets, get people through the night. It'll be all right.
That'd be
Yes.
great.
That's what 10 forward needs, a piano.
Yeah. Riker, a lot of trombone happened there.
Yeah,
in
right. A
that.
lot
Too
of
much.
trombone.
Too much.
Too much.
Play
Too much.
Nightbird.
Limit.
Too much. Too much.
What is your go-to holodeck program?
Oh, wow. Okay. I don't understand the adventure programs where they're like, oh, take the safeties off. I'm going to jump out of a plane. I'm like, what? You're
Safeties
in
never
space.
work anyway.
Yeah, like they never.
Let's go
work.
lose at the Alamo. Like that doesn't sound like fun.
I don't want to do that. So I think it would be like I think I would be more of like the explorer person. Like, let's see what this planet or this space looks like, or go back and visit this area of place that I never can go, but I can go on the holodeck. I play it safe, I think. And I'm a risk taker too, so that's interesting. All right. I'll go with that answer.
She's like, I'm gonna have to talk to my therapist about that later. I
Right.
was asked about holodeck programs. I didn't choose adventure. I
Sure.
chose just a leisurely walkabout.
Right.
What does that
Gonna-
say about where I am in my life?
I'm gonna read a book on a beach somewhere. I don't know. Maybe. I would do that now. Okay.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what I would do.
Crusher or Pulaski?
Oh, Crusher.
Mhm.
I mean, I get Pulaski, but she was a meanie. She want to call Data by the right name. Come on. Just rude.
If it, I would say she's the character, the only TNG character that was created to have an arc, and she didn't get to stick around long enough to fully have that
Right.
arc. But I think that was
Right.
part of what they were doing.
I do too.
But,
I do too. But it,
Yeah.
Too bad it's so sad.
Are you doing a Klingon Tai Chi with Worf or leotard yoga with Beverly and Deanna?
I'm not doing the yoga. Not doing it.
I love
Not
that. I'm
putting
not
on
doing it.
not doing it.
I don't think anyone's ever been like, I'm not doing something. They're like, oh, I'm going to.
I'm not doing the
I'm
yoga.
not doing that one.
I feel like they're having their moment, and I'm just gonna let them have it. And and was it Shax and who did it in Lower Deck? Shax?
Ransom and
Yes.
Shax.
Ransom. They can have it too. That's fine.
That's my
That worked out for
cosplay
them.
coming up. That's gonna happen.
I hope it does.
It's gonna
And I want
happen.
Pictures, videos. I want all of it.
I'm sure you already have the leotard.
How dare you out me like that, Mike Jones?
Oh, just like that. The pink one. Mm-hmm.
It's lavender.
Okay, my bad.
Tea, Earl Grey, hot, or coffee, black, or
Oh,
back to Gino.
it's coffee black, like as dark as the night sky. I want it that strong.
I like a
Are
little.
you getting
coffee
it in that
with mine.
nebula?
Right.
If you had a replicator sitting next to you right now, what would you have it make?
Oh yeah, wow. I don't know. I think it would probably be, well, I'd probably replicate instruments. I probably would because I'm just that kid. Yeah. I mean, like, I feel like let's figure out how to play a trumpet. Okay, let's do that. I mean, that's something you could do.
Nice.
I mean,
And
We
they're
have
so
never
expensive
gotten that
in
answer
real
before.
life.
just
yeah.
no. What do
That's
people
great.
answer? What do they say?
Usually it's food.
A lot of
Actually,
people say
the
food.
one that stood out to me still is Derek Tyler Attico said that he
He
would
was- yeah.
build homes for the homeless.
Oh wow.
Right.
I was
I
like,
mean,
wow,
like-
I was gonna say a
Oh,
burger
right.
for myself. Now I feel like a jerk.
I mean, can we replicate world peace? Because I'm replicating that. Then. You know
There
what
we
I mean?
go.
Let's just be honest.
but here's the thing, and if it started, well, yeah, because today, world peace. No, continue,
Any
Mike
peace?
Jones. Yeah,
Just
just a little bit.
a little bit. I'll take that.
Who is your Star Trek crush?
Oh, see, this is the thing. I'm not that kid. I don't.
Yeah.
And I know, like, even my wife will happily say, "Well, it's Seven's your girlfriend." No, Seven's not my girlfriend. It's just not. That's not the relationship I have with Seven. And that's okay. I get it. I get why people feel that way, but I don't think of those characters. I see myself more like alongside them than I do with them.
Huh.
Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That too
absolutely.
esoteric. I don't know. Maybe.
No, that's a
No. That
That's
makes
a
sense. Like
terrific
it
answer.
is like they're
Right.
your comrades. You don't
Yeah.
you don't want to sleep with them. You just
No.
want to be with them and learn and travel. Like keep your cooties to
We
yourself.
learned the
Thank you.
dangers of this watching Scientific Method.
Yes.
We did.
Clearly, it can get ugly quick. Just saying.
Favorite alien species?
I think it's the Klingons. I really do. I think, you get all varieties of Klingons, but
Mhm.
they, at the end, are all very tried and true to who they are and their traditions. And there's a level of respect I have for that. Plus, it's just fun to watch them get mad. If you need somebody to get mad, just sit around for a little bit. A Klingon will walk through the door, and
Yeah.
things will happen.
I think you already answered this one, but who's your Star Trek bartender, Guinan or Quark?
Yeah, that's a great one, but I think it's Guinan.
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for Quark. I think Quark is really the heartbeat of DS9 because that bar that's where all the things happened, right?
Everything.
Right.
But Quark is, in the end, Quark is still Quark, and Guinan, I don't know, she's eternal in some way. So, and
Absolutely.
she set a lot of those TNGers straight. So,
All right. Last question. And this one is specific to us.
Oh,
Are you
okay.
Team Tasha or Team Armis?
Oh, That's great. Yeah, I'm gonna go Team Tasha. I think. I mean, yeah, Armis. I mean, he was just kind of a jackass, right? Like, it was just kind of a rude thing to do, like for no reason, just arbitrarily getting rid of people. Why?
Yeah. Because it's fun.
Right. Like, I think one of my favorite Trek moments is when on Lower Decks when Mariner like calls Armis and is like prank calling him.
Oh yes.
Like, and he gets so mad. He's like hollering through the light years at Mariner because she's just like taunting him. I'm like, yeah, that's what he needs. He needs some of that.
That's pretty amazing. Yeah.
That's
right.
good.
Yeah.
Really good answers. Thank you. You did very well.
I felt the pressure. I'm telling you.
There's no pressure. They're very lighthearted. No, but here's the thing. Who did we interview? He took these questions
so
very seriously.
Whoa.
And it was great. It was like he really thought
he was not. He was happy with us until that round. Until the round of questions, he was like not happy.
We were great, and he was like,
broke his
I don't want to
brain.
make. Yeah,
just the three people to eat with.
Brain. Oh, that he couldn't do it.
He couldn't do it.
No.
But let me ask you this then. Don't you as a fan, like, haven't you thought about this? Like,
yeah.
What?
Like who am I gonna have dinner with? If I could have any dinner with any Trek characters, who would it be? Like, you don't think about this? I do.
Actually, you know what? Larry had a great answer about the replicator because we got into talking about red velvet cake, and he had really strong his background and opinion on red velvet cake, and which was fascinating.
It was
right. All right.
This is like our ongoing ethnography of Trekkies. That's really what it is. It's just
I love it though.
Yeah, it's a long-term study.
Yeah, it is. Like, when did you come to it? How it's shaped you and affect you throughout your life? Why do you do what you do? And what things are you gleaning from it and give to the world?
Yeah, that's a book, people.
I need to remember who gave that answer, but someone answered the three people to have dinner with based on what they would eat.
Yes.
Like what kind of food they would have.
Yes.
Like the meal with, like if it's a Romulan or if it's a, Klingon, and you would have gach and you would have, and I was like, that is not the question, but interesting that you went there.
I didn't even consider, like, I'm not even thinking about the food. I'm talking about conversation, right? I want to know what we're talking about.
And see, that's the thing. Like, there's such general, broad, specific questions.
Yes.
Right. Every individual comes to it in like this one.
I like this one. All right. I love it. I think it's great.
And I think it also just kind of like proves our theory that that Trekkies are the most fascinating people, and that we all sort of like walk off the beaten path in our own ways, and that's kind of the thing. One of the things that kind of like bonds us all together is that we all have this sort of like weirdo streak, and it's funny, Mike, we were talking about this when we first started going back to conventions, about being like, wow, like this is like a safe space that I am unaccustomed to in the world.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So,
yeah, where you can really be a version of yourself that you can't be normally, Yeah.
Absolutely.
Jodi, thank you so much. This has been
great.
So much fun.
I could ask you a million more questions.
It's not me this time. See this.
We'll get together again. We'll do it again. Yes,
exactly.
Yes, you can come over to our corner of the basement 90s party anytime.
Yes, please.
Good. Happily will do so. Please.
Awesome.
This has been great. I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Awesome. Where can folks find you?
Oh, on every social network that's out there, all the places. I'm a Jodi Pickens everywhere except Instagram. It's jpickens01, and if you get to any of those places, there's a link tree or whatever that is, and I've got everything linked up there. So yeah, you can find me, and the same for the podcast, Clonestar Podcast, everywhere. So that's where we are.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for being generous with your time and joining us and hanging out and reminding us how much we love Voyager. I'm going to go watch Start Year of Hell right now.
I think that's going to happen.
Yeah. And as always, Damien, Lenita, thank you so much for joining me. And
All right,
thank you, dear
Jodi.
listener, for sticking with us to the end. Since you're still here, give us a 5-star review, give us a like and subscribe, all of those things. Shoot us a tweet or contact us.
And if you say something mean to us on TikTok, maybe we'll read it on the pod.
That will probably happen. A mailbag segment is probably coming up soon with hate mail. I love it. You can find us everywhere on all the socials at Hailing Freak Open. That's FREQ, or at hailingfrequenciesopen.com. And with that, I will say, Hailing Frequencies closed.
No goodbyes. Just good memories. Hailing frequencies closed, sir.